Welcome to our online training session today. Today we're going to be talking about getting Kitomba reports to work for you. My name's Donna and I'm going to be taking you through the session today. Before we get started though, I just want to double check that you can see and hear me. So on your screen at the moment you should be able to see a control panel with a red arrow pointing to the hand icon. Okay, just want to make sure that you can hear and see me. So if you can see the sentence that says questions are welcome at the end of the webinar on the bottom of the page, please raise your hand on your control panel. Okay, so if you can see that page, just please raise your hand on your control panel. Okay, I'm not seeing any hands. Okay, again, I just get you to double check if you can hear me. Can you please raise your hand on the control panel? The control panel will be on the device that you're listening to this session on. Okay, we're just going to progress through there. Thank you for that. And we'll move on to our next screen. There we go. Okay, so reports are the roadmap to your business. They can provide you with information on what is working and what is not working. They provide you with the information that you need to manage your business. The report tab provides you with the ability to run a variety of reports. In Kitomba, there are a big selection of reports to assist you to manage your business. When to run a report and which reports you use depends on your business. So it's a really personal thing. We sometimes have new people who've just opened their businesses and they say they want to run their reports every day. That's fine. If that's what you want to do at the beginning to keep track of what's going on, then that's cool. You might be a long-term business owner and you still like to see what's going on every day, and that's cool too, because it's whatever works for you. Some of our business coaches suggest you have a look at it once a week, some say once a month, and some say 3 months. And again, it comes back to that personal preference thing of what's going to work for you. One of the things in the picture I've got here on the screen is all about the reports in Kitomba. Now, there's lots of reports in Kitomba. One of the things that you can do when you go into that reports tab, if you're not sure what report you want to look at, you can just hover over the name of the report and it'll bring up a prompt box, and in that box will be some information about what that report's going to tell you. So that gives you a bit of an idea of what the reports are about. From there, if you're still not sure, there's a little search box just up here, and I'll just take my cursor up there. So there's a little search box there. You can type in some of the words. So maybe you're looking for something about client retention. So you could type in client retention, and that will bring up the reports most likely to meet what you're looking for. So if you're not sure what it's called, just try and type in a few words that you're thinking, and it's going to bring up some prompts to help you there. Okay, today we're going to be looking at some of the reports that can help you through the day. Okay, so we're going to look at the ones at the beginning of the day, and then we're going to jump right to the end of the day and have a look at those that can help you there. And then we're going to be looking at some of the other reports that might be able to help you as well. So we'll move on. The one thing I haven't mentioned is if you've got any questions, just pop those into the question pane in your control panel, and then we can get to those questions at the end of the session. Okay, so beginning of the day. Now, beginning of the day, there's 2 reports that I'd like to look at with you today. These are the customer history by staff and the customer history one-page reports. Okay, we'll just move on to our next page, and I've got those reports, just pictures of those reports just sitting here. Now, the customer history by staff is exactly that. It shows the list of staff and it shows the appointments on the left-hand side there. So this is this one up here. Okay, down here we've got our customer history one page, and this one has a bit more information for you. So you've got what's happening with the appointments and some more information about that particular customer and what's going to be happening for them when they come and see you. Now, one of the things with these reports is, of course, you've got to print them off, and it's quite useful. You can have it beside you as you go through the day and put notes on it if you want to. But the other thing that I'd recommend is that you use Kitomba One for this. It's available on, if you've got an iPad or a tablet or even your team's cell phones, if you let them use those during the day. You can give them access to Kitomba One, enough for them to see only who's going to be coming to see them. They don't see anything that you don't want them to see. You just can see what their appointments are. And it's a quick and easy way, and you don't have to print out the paper. The other thing that's really good with that as well is if changes happen, like someone cancels and somebody else is put in, that's going to update. Kitomba One talks to Kitomba frequently during the day. I think it's about every 3 or 4 minutes or so. So it's always updated, whereas with a printed report, you have to print it off and make changes and so on. So just have a think about that. It might be something that might be useful for you, to be giving your team access to Kitomba One so they can see who their appointments are for the day. And as I say, that information is only what you allow them to see, and there's some security criteria around that. If you need any help with that, the help desk is there to help you through it. So that's our customer history by staff. So let's move to the next one. Okay, the next one is your message list, and I'm just going to move over to my notes. Okay, so it's important to check that the customers you're expecting to see today are actually going to be coming in. Now you can check the messages tab for this to see who's auto-confirmed their appointments by text or by email. But for clients that you need to call, you can run the message list, and it's going to give you that list of people that you need to call. Okay. One of the things about this list is you can have it for all messages, or you can actually get it narrow it right down to just the call me customers. So that's all you see is the ones you actually have to make a phone call to. And let's move along to our next one. Okay. So let's think about, we've done the beginning of the day, so we know who our customers are, we've given them great service during the day, and now we've come to the end of the day where we've got lots of money in the till, we've got lots of EFTPOS receipts, and we're going to do the settlement of that, sort all that out. The next step is to actually balance the cash drawer. Now I know some of you don't do this, but we really recommend that you do, just so it gives you a much better idea of what's happening in your business. Okay, now to do this, you just need to go to the cash drawer reconciliation wizard, which is actually a report. So the cash drawer reconciliation, go to the reports tab, you're going to run this, and it's going to come up with this little wizard, and it's going to ask you to enter some information. Now the information you need to enter in here is one of the things up here would have been your starting float. So how much did you actually have before you started? And then if you've taken lots of cash, you'd be entering that in there, and there'd be a yellow box for you to enter in here. Now in my particular case, I use a training database or test database, and in this one we've only been doing EFTPOS today, so I'd be writing 678.86 in there, and then that would take that down to a 0 because it would show me that there is no difference. I would also then be entering in what tomorrow's float is, and then it's going to be there for you tomorrow when you do this. So it makes it so much easier. Then you click the finalize button, and that's going to take you through then to your to the next step. It's all sorted out. So we'll just go next one. Okay. Now sometimes the cash draw transaction summary is the only way if you've got discrepancies. You say if it's not going to balance, the best thing to look at is your transaction summary. So you come in here and you think, okay, so I'm out, say $50 or whatever it might be. So you'd go through here and you'd find, okay, that's the invoice that I want to check. Now this information here is really important, because this is the information you would actually go into Kitomba and you'd search on, where you'd normally search for the customer's name. You can use the drop down arrow and it takes you down to document number. So you would enter that in your document number, and that would then take you through to that particular invoice. So you can actually look at the real detail of what happened in that particular instance. So just a bit of a tip there. The other one that you can run as well is the cash drawer takings report. Now this one identifies a lot of information. It's not just the cash position, It also talks about non-bank payments. Okay, and for those of you who haven't come across non-bank payments, now that's things like vouchers, it's things like online prepayments. So in other words, it's anything that's not processed by a bank. And so if you think about it, and it's exactly what it says, non-bank payments. So it's a payment, but it's not come through a bank, like the instances I mentioned. And it's got some other information here. So bills not paid at time of sale. So it could be that somebody hasn't been able to pay that day, they've forgotten their card, or somebody's come in because they forgot their card the other day. So it's just trying to keep it all balanced for you so you know what's going on. And then down here, petty cash expense, and I know a lot of you don't worry too much about petty cash, but if it's something that is getting away on you a bit, it's a good idea to actually keep track of petty cash using Kitomba. So that's the cash draw takings. Okay, and then one more just to help you with that transaction at the end of the time is your sales daily sheets. Now this is a particular favourite of the help desk team, and I know they mention it to a lot of people. Okay, if you want to just have some information on the actual sales for the day, then this is the report to look at. This report details all of the sales made by a staff person for the period that you've selected. It's very useful for seeing who's selling and who is selling the most. And you can see here that you can actually look at the sales type, you can have it by person, and extra information there, who did the work or designated salesperson. So again, you can refine this to what information it is that you want to look for. And one of the other things that I really like is the Star Clients process. Now, Star Clients, a lot of our customers used. Some of them have now moved on to using targets, and some of them are using both. What Star Clients does is it gives you a real picture of what's happening in the customer journey. So this is what's happening to your clients as they come in and stay with you and come back to different appointments. You need to set it up, just like most of the things in Kitomba, you do need to set it up, but once it's set up, it just works for itself. A number of the people that I talk to, they use this report with their team training. They run the report and then they can quickly see the team members who have the most full star clients and highlights very clearly the ones that might need a little bit of help. And you can see quickly in these ones that where we've got 5 stars here. Okay, so I've got quite a few numbers down here, so perhaps I might need to do something about this one. Oops, lost my cursor. And so on. So it's just giving you an idea of where the effort needs to be placed when you're upskilling your team. Okay, the next one is huge, and I'm not going to go through all of these reports because we do run a separate stock training session. So the stock take report. Now, for some of you, stock take's really easy. You can sit at the desk and somebody can be yelling out the numbers and you can data enter it straight into the system and then it's all sorted. But for the majority of you, the reality is that you need to print off a stock take report, you need to go around and find the stock wherever it might be and check it off that way. And either way is cool. This one just means that you're going to have to enter that into Kitomba when you're available to get to the computer. So this is where it all starts. So this is your stock take report to make sure everything is as it should be. And for stock take report, just as a tip, don't try and do everything all at once. Pick a category and just deal with one at a time. It's a bit like eating the elephant, much easier at one bite than trying to consume the whole lot in one go. Now there's a few reports here. You've got your stock auto order, you've got your stock ordering, your item trays, the stock movement summary, stock statistics, and then the stock turnover and stock value. And as I said, I'm not going to go through all of them. If there's something that you need, then please come along to our session on stock and we'll be able to go through those in more detail. But for today, the one that I would suggest that when I first started at Kitomba, which is a few years now, I really took me a while to get my head around stock turnover. I didn't come from either a retail or field at all. Looking at stock turnover, it's a measure of how quickly stock is converted into sales. So you'd use this particular report to see what sells well and what stock doesn't, and to help you figure out what your minimums and maximums should be, or whether you should actually stock that item at all. And there's a really good user guide that's on the knowledge base that can step you through a bit more information about the detail of stock turn and how that works. So I really recommend that take some time just to have a look at that. Now, for those of you who joined me last week, we looked at the business summary, and the business summary is, to me, the most important report of all. You need to have a look and say, okay, this is the big picture figures, if you like. All those other reports are really important for what they tell you, but for me, this is the really big one. It's important that you analyse the numbers, and again, it's a personal preference whether you do it daily, weekly, or whatever, because actually your business drivers are going to be coming from the business summary. If you run it over a big period of time, you're going to get the big view. Smaller period, you'll see what's happening in that smaller space and time, like day to day. The other thing for me about the business summary is it tells me that everything on here is a result of an action that's happened in the business. So I know that all the work that's happening is giving me this result. If I don't like the result, then I have to make sure that other actions happen in the business to change this. So for me, this, as I said right at the beginning, it's about having a roadmap, and all of the reports are part of that roadmap to take you where you want to go. Okay, let's move on to our next one. Okay, so our wages report. One of the key things about, and I think I've said this already today as well, is getting things set up. So if you set up your commissions right, and you make sure that you use the appointment book for everything that you and your team do, then the wages and commission report is just going to work for you. You're going to be able to say, yeah, that's correct, and it's going to be so much easier. So what happens is when you go to the wages summary report, it's going to pop up with this little pop-up here, and it's going to ask you, is that the correct amount of time or hours worked, and you need to enter any overtime, etc. if you need to. Then you press go, and then it's going to come up with this lovely report with all the information that you need. It clearly shows on the report the commission group that that particular person belongs to. So if that's wrong, then you need to go and check that. But again, if you set everything up right in the beginning and there's been no changes that you've discussed with your team member, then this should all be fine. Okay. And again, you can do this with wages and commission. You can do it with wages only. You can do it with commissions only. It just entirely depends on how you want it to work. And as I've learned here at Kitomba, everybody does things different. There is no two salons or spas that really work the same. They all look at different things, and different things are important. And so it's about, and commissions is no exception. Everybody does it slightly different. And setting it up how you want it to make it work for you is really important. I know I spend time talking to the help desk team, and they say, yeah, it doesn't matter who they talk to, they have to actually really get to understand how things work for them before they can actually give them the right answers, because everybody is so different. Moving along. So there's some other user reports as well, and I'm not going to go into them too much today. There's your marketing list. You know, our personal preference here, and certainly my personal preference, is to use the marketing campaigns, especially in K1, because it's so much easier to get your refined list and takes you through to MailChimp, because they've got so many great templates that you can use. But if you prefer to use it in Kitomba, and I know some of you do and use it really well, then the marketing lists are what you're going to need to get to be able to create the list for you to campaign to. So that marketing list report's really important. Message statistics, who's doing what? Who's telling you what through their messages is really important. How many people are actually responding gives you an idea of what's going on. And as I've mentioned before, petty cash. If you're not using Kitomba to keep track of your petty cash, I really recommend that you have a look and see how it works. It's really simple, and it's in the cards tab to have a look at. I know some people who actually get really surprised when they sit down and think, actually, did we spend that much money just from petty cash? So sometimes if you think, oh, okay, I don't seem to have a lot of money, perhaps it's a slow day, and suddenly you think, wow, it doesn't balance so good, or it's not quite right. And again, when you're balancing it, maybe just somebody's taken some money out for petty cash and not allocated it to petty cash. It's really important to keep track of that, and the petty cash report will help you with it. The next one, of course, is you've got staff timetables, and the one that I think is quite useful, especially when you're working with your team, is staff utilisation. And I like to tell a story. I don't know how many of you know, I have 6 children, 3 girls and 3 boys. Now, one of my daughters is an absolute master at looking really busy all the time. So if you're setting them tasks and so on, when they were a bit younger, she looked always like she was the one who was doing everything. But in actual fact, it wasn't her, it was her brothers and sisters who were actually doing the work, and she just looked really busy. Staff, I wish there was a family utilisation report. That would have been really helpful. Staff utilisation is exactly that. It's going to tell you who actually is the busy ones in your salon. And I was talking to my manager the other day about people and working and workloads and things, and she was saying, yeah, some people just get on with it. They just come in, they do their job, they don't make a big song and dance about what's happening, they just do it. But you don't really know about it. And other people come in and they might do 2 or 3 couple of things, but look really busy all the time and make a big deal about it. But when you actually look at the utilisation report, you can quickly see, well, actually, I need to have a bit of a rethink about who's doing what here. So as I say, a family utilisation report for me would have been really useful. It would have saved me a lot of problems in family conversations. Now, the flip side to Kitomba reports, of course, is the reports in Kitomba One. And for those of you who joined me before, you all know how much I really love Kitomba One. I think it's just so easy to use. And there's been so many great features added to it over the last little while. What we've tried to do in Kitomba One is select the reports that would be most useful for you. If there's some reports that you really need and aren't in here, then please go into the Kitomba One website and put them in as a feature request. There's the ability for you, I think it's the same place you go to the knowledge base or closely by that, you can actually get in and put in a feature request, put that in, then people get to see it, people get to vote on it and say, yeah, that's what I want to. When enough people say the same things, then our developers have a look and see if it's something we could add to our development cycle. So again, if there's something that you think you really need here, then let us know about it, and that's the best way to let us know. But in here, we've got a set of reports. Okay, so we've got the business summary. Now, the business summary for me is in Kitomba One is absolutely amazing because I can get it to do what I want it to do. I can get it to tell me just the things that I'm interested in. In Kitomba, we have a set amount of things that are there, and then you can change some of the categories, in fact 6 of them. But in Kitomba One, I can actually have it just showing me what I need to make my business grow. And that's what's important. It's really important to just tailor it for yourself. You'll see here, and I'm just going to pop my cursor up there where the recently added is. So every so often we do add some new things. If it's a green box saying recently added or new, check it out because it's will be something that's just popped up. And speaking of new, for those of you who we're just rolling out starting from today, we've changed the way Kitomba looks a little bit. So check that out on your screen as well. The important thing, business summary, it's customizable, as I've said. The other reports in here, we've got the sales ones here, so anything to do with sales. We've got the payments ones here, So even if you're not in the salon, you can actually jump in, have a look and say, oh, hey, we got this much money today, or the cash didn't balance, or whatever it is that you want to do when you're not in the salon. It just makes it easy for you. You can also now check for your online booking payments received, so that's a report there that's going to help you with that. For those of you who use online booking and are getting your customers to pay those deposits or make payments before the appointments, so that's how you can check that out. We've got our loyalty and vouchers, and we've got appointments, okay, as well. So that's going to give you information that is going to help you to run your business, and you don't actually have to be in the actual physical address. You can be on your holiday, or you can be just working from home or whatever. You can still access things while you're not there. And that's one of the things that I really love about Kitomba One, is it gives you that ability to keep your finger on the pulse but not be in there all the time. And that takes us to the end of our reports. So that's a bit of a quick tour. If you've got any questions about any of those reports, please pop them into the question pane and we can go through those now. So just a bit of a summary of what we've covered. We've talked about what reports are helpful for you at the beginning of the day, and that's those customer history by staff and by page. We've talked about the end of the day, and there's some reports there that can help you do, once you've done your reconciliation, what can you look at to see if it doesn't add up? So it's your transaction summary, it's your sales daily sheets to have a look at. The other things from there on, there's the stock reports. They're going to help you manage your stock. And again, I've been talking to some people about who've had Kitomba for a while and they've never actually managed stock in Kitomba. And when we've actually sat and talked to them about that, and showed them what it can do and how easy it can make their life, they've been really sold on it. So if you're not using stock and want a bit of help around that, give the help desk a call and they'll be able to help you through setting that up and making sure it works for you. It is so easy once you've got it sorted. Okay, let's just check and see if we've got any questions here. Okay. No questions today, so I'm going to leave that session with there. If you do come have a question, and I know myself after a session's happened, I think, oh, I should have asked that question. If that pops up, please feel free, and you can email through either to myself, which is donna.leddy@kitomba.com, or email the support desk, which is support@kitomba.com. That'll get to me as well, or it'll get to the help desk and somebody will be able to answer the question for you. That's what we're here for, to help you, help make Kitomba work for you. Have a fantastic rest of the day, and I look forward to catching up with you next time.